Thank you, Professor Dubey, and thank you, Dr. Nityananda, and all others who are here. It's a great opportunity for me to share some views. Um, as we know, the this budget was presented as a historic budget. I think it is historical in a way, at least when we come to education, because in the history of this country, this is for the first time that the education budget has been slashed to this level. It has never happened. Always, we have never been happy with the allocation that was made to education, but it was never slashed in the way it has been slashed this time for education. From that point of view, I think it is a historic budget for slashing education. There has been a reduction of about 6,000 crores from last year's allocation to this year's 5,000 crores. School education itself has suffered 5,000 crores reduction has come for that. Now, why this is important to really mention here is that we have been talking about distress situation in the economy, but I think we are in a real distress situation in education in this country. For the last 1 year, schools and colleges have been closed. The world over, all relief packages have really highlighted the problem of education and provided special allocation for education all over the world. But in India, we have chosen to reduce allocation for education, which is a very strange phenomenon that I find not found anywhere else in the world under this pandemic condition that we are going through. I was looking at in terms of the total, if we you see the total budget, if you look at the overall sum has increased. And it used to be last year, the school education share in the total budget used to be 2.18%. And this year it has come down to 1.74%. So it is not only about 5,000 crore, doesn't fully represent our lower priority for education. If you look at in terms of school education proportionately to what we are spending overall, our budget allocation and what the school education gets, it is even more significantly reduced. And I was also looking at some analysis done by the Center for Child Rights about budget allocation for children budget. They have tried to really do it, which used to be going back in 2012-13, which used to be 4.76% of the total budget, used to be child budget, child-related, child protection, child education, and all of them used to be together, child nutrition and others. But this from 4.76 in 2012-13, consistently it has come down during all these years, and now it stands at only 2.46%. The child budget, if you look at whatever allocation that is made for child, which includes education, nutrition, and protection, altogether it has come down to only 2.46%. This is why I'm highlighting this reduction is that with this reduction in the budget for education, attention being paid to education, whatever gain we had got during the last 10, 15 years, whatever it may be, that in terms of enrollment and provision of infrastructure is going to collapse this year. Everyone was expecting that there will be increased allocation for education to make up for the loss that has happened, because what is happening, if we look at in terms of the centrally sponsored schemes allocation uptake, that is what money has been transferred to the state governments for this, because we all know that in school education particularly, states have come to depend so much on the centrally sponsored scheme of Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, and then Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan and all. They only put in whatever comes from the central government, for that they put in the counterpart funding. That is what has happened. But if you look at in terms of the, normally after the revised budget, revised estimates, the uptake goes up significantly. And normally around 75% in December, you will find that the expenditure of the MHRD would be there because they transfer money to the state governments. This year, this has been less than 60% has gone toward the end of the year. Now, that means that there has been already a lot of lag in terms of the allocation that has been received by the state governments for school education under the centrally sponsored schemes, and now we are reducing it also further. I think it will have a very, very serious implication for what is happening, because we should also appreciate what is happening at the state level because of the pandemic. Is that there has been no teacher recruitment for the last 1 year, and therefore there have been a lot of positions which are vacant, which they are not likely to fill in. And second, I think the maintenance of infrastructure, school infrastructure, for the last one year has been in very miserable shape. There has been no maintenance that has happened. The schools are in very bad shape. When the schools reopen, people were expecting that there will be a package that would be there for rehabilitation of the post-pandemic rehabilitation of the children in the school, with improvement in the school infrastructure and all. But unfortunately, nothing such has happened. And I think this is the second point that I want to make. Third, there are a few things, like we find that the one area in which the additional allocation has come is for the midday meals. The midday meals has received around 500 crores more. But this is also in a way deceptive, I should tell you, because we keep hearing every day about the serious condition of malnutrition among the children, and India not able to really make up for that at all. And if we, alongside midday meal, you should also look at I should say that this year the midday meal expenditure has gone down very significantly because the schools have not been able to distribute midday meal. Although it was said that the midday meal should be given to the children even if the schools are closed, this has not happened. In state after state, the midday meal has not been distributed. So this 500 crore increase is a bit deceptive from that point of view. Second, if we combine this with what has happened with respect to ICDS, I think it is very important, since we are talking about nutrition. This budget actually combines two schemes. One is the Poshan Abhiyan scheme and the ICDS. They have been merged this time. Earlier, it was launched earlier. Poshan Abhiyan scheme, what is Poshan 2.0, had been launched. Now this has been now merged with this. Now, what is the allocation that has come is that last year we had 3,400 crores for the Poshan Abhiyan and 19,412 crores for ICDS. But what has now come for the merged scheme is only 19,916. In effect, we have slashed 4,000 crores towards nutrition of children. If we combine ICDS and then Poshan Abhiyan, which again is a very, very serious issue, because this will have an impact on the primary education. Because the more we don't protect the preschool level prior to primary level, I think this will have a direct impact on this. I won't take much time, sir. There are 2 or 3 schemes which have come, which I think I should really comment on. One is the 15,000 exemplar schools. This is in a way a rehashing of the model school idea which had been earlier done. Now 15,000 schools, but the point is that this there are no details about 15,000 exemplar schools, how it will be done. This is going back to what Professor Dhar was pointing out. Earlier we used to have the planning commission 5-year plans, and therefore the schemes used to be worked out, and then the annual allocation used to come, budget allocation used to come towards the scheme that are there in operation. Now actually there is no way to really know what is the thinking of the government at all. So this is the new thinking that has come to start 15,000 exemplar schools. They are called exemplar schools, model schools. What is going to happen, we don't know. This may be another way of public-private partnership, which was floated during the UPA time also. I am afraid what is going to come, we do not know about that. A second program that has been said, for which additional allocation that has been made, is about Eklavya pattern model residential schools, for which it has been said that there will be 750 such new schools will come up. But unfortunately, if you look at, this is not a new scheme. This is an older scheme, for which already money had been allocated. But I was looking at the website of the ministry, and ministry says that out of 500 schools that have been allocated earlier, only 173 have been operationalized till now. I do not know what exactly we mean by adding another 750 schools. Are we going to really take that part of it which has not been operationalized and include here, or this is additionality? How we want to do, why it has not been done? Earlier, again, Planning Commission used to really evaluate in terms of seeing if schemes are working or not and how it should be done. But there are no indications in terms of why this has been done when the previous scheme is not functioning at all. This is another issue that I want to point out. Third, I think a scheme which has been announced, which is a new scheme that has been announced now, which bothers me, is about opening of 100 Sainik schools. Why it bothers me is that I think a little bit of history I should share with you here, that the idea of Sainik schools was mooted in 1961 when Krishna Menon was the defense minister. And it was thought that the idea of a Sainik school is that Sainik schools will be something like a training ground for people who, those who move out of the Sainik schools can have a better access to the National Defense Academy. That was originally thought of. It was meant for people who would, so there is a special kind of a mental and physical training that would happen in the Sainik schools. This was in 1961. Between 1961 and 2021, that is in the 60 years, how many schools have come? 34 schools have come. I'm saying all these things because from NEPA, we had evaluated the Sainik school a few years ago, and the Defense Ministry was very keen on reorganizing the schools. And the importance given to this is very high within the Defense Ministry. And for every Sainik school, which are only 34, the GOC in command, in the local command, chairs the board of management of that school. That's the kind of importance given by the Defense Ministry to each of these Sainik schools. Now we say we are going to open 100 schools. I don't know why suddenly such love has come from 34 to 100 more schools. I am not too convinced of this sudden love, how it has come. I do see some other consideration that must be there. Second, what bothers me even more is that this is going to be taken out of the Defense Ministry, and it will be done as collaboration with non-governmental organizations. It bothers me. Something which has been very well protected, because it can affect our security issues also. It's a very, very serious issue. I hope more people will really reflect and write on this, that this could really threaten. If 100 schools are created with the NGOs' hands, and NGOs, we don't know what kind of NGOs that they will get, which can really lead to creating children who will be trained and oriented in parochial considerations, and who will enter into the defense forces in course of time. If this is the way they are really looking at, I think it bothers me that not only about sudden love for 100 schools, which raises questions, but also that this will be handed over and done through public-private partnership and non-governmental organizations, which is a very serious issue. Why open up defense sector suddenly in this fashion, in training people in this fashion, which has not happened during the last 60 years? It is a serious issue. I would also like to add here that the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, which has been launched and then projected in a very big way during the last few years. Now, this has been merged now again. You see, this is the problem with many of these schemes, is that quietly you forget them and then leave them out. Now, the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao Andolan, like the Poshan Abhiyan being merged with ICDS, this is being merged with something called Shakti. That's a scheme that is already there. This is being merged with that. And if you look at in terms of what has happened to this during the last few years, for only 45% of the money allocated to Beti Bachao was really sanctioned and spent by the government of India. And that is why I'm saying is that while we talk about the school education, girls education, and all these things, so much we talk about women empowerment and everything, but what has really happened is that we have really reduced all these things, merged them, neglected them, sidelined them, the schemes that have been launched for that. I'll just take 2 minutes to tell about two things about higher education. There's not much to say about higher education, sir. In fact, higher education, besides the fact that 1,000 crores has been launched, there has been nothing new that has been said. Three things that have been. One is actually they have recycled this budget, recycles ideas which had been floated a few years earlier. The two themes that have been brought back is the Higher Education Commission and the National Research Fund. We should remember that this was already in 2019 also it has been referred to, but nothing had happened. And Higher Education Commission was also referred to several times earlier, but nothing has happened. But National Research Fund this time has been allocated such a huge money, some 10,000 crores has been allocated, which would appear very, very impressive. Many people, scientists have said that, no, it's a great idea that, we are supporting research and all. But the problem, if you read the fine print, is that this money has been allocated over a period of 5 years. This is not for this year. And we have found actually in the previous plans, previous budgets also, whatever has been allocated for a long-term expenditure, that doesn't take off seriously in the initial years. So I am not too sure that anything will happen under this research fund also this year. And since it is over 5 years, it has been done, and that also means that the expenditure pattern has not been worked out yet. Allocation pattern has not been worked out yet, and the norms of granting has not been. I think it's 50,000 crores for NRF has been provided. So that is what has happened. Now there is one new scheme that has been suggested is the umbrella structure at the city level for central organization that will be created. But this also, there are no details that are given. And all that the government of India seems to be interested in spending is what they call the glue fund, which is what the budget document is talking about. Otherwise, there is nothing new. We have cut down 1,000 crores and nothing new that has happened, which essentially means that we have abandoned the higher education sector almost completely to the privatization, private forces. This is a very clear indication that is coming out by the slash that has happened to higher education in this budget. Last point that I want to make is that, with lot of fanfare, a few years ago in 2017, we had launched what is called the Higher Education Finance HIFA. Agency, Higher Education Finance Agency. And it was announced that, from now onwards, all the institutions will have to really take money from the Higher Education Finance Agency, and we will not give any grant. They will be in the form of loans and from the agency, which will be equity-based support will be given by the central government for them. But what has happened now, by 2021, we have realized that this is a failed effort. There has been the money that has not gone up. The universities have not really heeded this, and they have not been able to borrow. And all that the government is going to do now is to really pay for the interest on the loan that they had taken. And if you read the budget details, all those things, that is what we find, that what is being allocated for various agencies is that towards the interest that the government of India is going to clear. So I am afraid that, the higher education, the government of India doesn't seem to be even thinking about higher education, what to do. Higher education, like school education, even more so higher education, in such a state of crisis. And all that we seem to be talking about is only about IITs, IIMs. We have increased the allocation for this. We have increased the allocation for central schools and then Navodaya schools. Government of India seems to be thinking their responsibility is only about their own institutions, not about the education sector of this country, but only about their own institutions which are directly controlled by Government of India is Government of India's responsibility. I think it is a very serious issue. We need to, the government of India has to own the education system of this country and think about improving the education system of this country. Budget should really relate to all these things, not just about increasing allocation for central schools, the Modiya schools, central universities, and then IITs and IIMs, which are under direct control of the government of India. These are the few points that came to my mind. Sir, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much for the detailed presentation.